YouTube, Shaddoll is here, and it is top tier. New Shaddoll deck.
Games are my life.
New Shaddoll skill has been updated, and it's really, really good. This skill is gotten a massive update, the Shadow Weaving Power, and I'm gonna explain to you what the new skill does and how it plays an extreme impact on what you're doing and how the plays are made. Okay, so basically, this deck uses the skill Shadow Weaving Power, which initially would just put in the deck 3 Shaddoll Fusion plus your Shaddoll Schism Trap and your window. However, the skill has been updated, and now it allows you to, at the beginning of the duel, send 2 random trap cards, which is Shaddoll traps from your deck to the graveyard. Now, you're always going to get Resh in the grave, and this is guaranteed. Always guaranteed, given the build that you're playing. You're not playing Core. Core is garbage. We don't play Core. We want to play Resh Shaddoll Fusion because Resh is very, very powerful. This card essentially allows us to Monster Reborn any Shaddoll, and while in the graveyard, we can banish it to flip up or face down a Shaddoll monster. So basically, we can book it or book of Taiyu it. If you don't know Taiyu, you can flip it face up, or you can flip it face down via the Book of Moon effect. So Resh is very, very powerful. Now, how do we use Resh? Why is getting Resh in the grave turn 1 so powerful? Well, it does a few things for the deck. A, it makes Shaddoll Hedgehog a 1-card starter because we can immediately flip this up and get Shaddoll Fusion from our deck to our hand, or else Shaddoll Fusion. This can search any Shaddoll spell or trap, so be cautious to the fact that you could also search Schism with this, and you could also search Resh with it as well. What's also very relevant here is that we also are able to search out our El Shaddoll Fusion as well. So very, very good. Makes Hedgehog a 1-card starter. But also this can flip any monster face up or down, which is very relevant in terms of something like Rilliona. Let's say you normal summon this and they go to activate their effect Veiler. Well, you could chain your trap in your graveyard, book your Rilliona, and now they can't Veiler you. So now you can get your effect off, you could search your Magistus Invocation, and then be able to go off now and with your plays. Now, I know a lot of you are going to ask me, but Sean, I don't have 3 Droplet. Sean, I don't have 3 Resh. I didn't go into the selection box. Or Sean, I have 2 Construct. Can I still play the deck? And the answer to all your questions is yes, yes, and yes. Okay, this deck is very playable with 2 copies of Construct. I would say if you're going to play this with 2 Construct, don't play Armageddon Knight. Because Armageddon Knight, if you run it, you won't be able to essentially get back your Shaddoll Construct. I even think about cutting it in this list because you have to be all spellcasters or all Shaddolls to be able to recycle. And if you run Armageddon Knight, you're not going to be able to do that to get the recyclability. However, in this particular list, we have this gives us a lot of variability between what Shaddolls we see and the starters. Now, I'm going to go over more of the deck list. So, if Rilliona basically on summon adds your Magistus Invocation. This plus any Shaddoll will make you Construct. So, you need a Shaddoll and Light to make Construct. Now, I'm going to go over each individual Shaddoll name. You know Armageddon Knight's effect. This just sends a Dark from deck to grave. But now I'm going to go over each individual Shaddoll's effect. Okay, so they have 2 different effects. You can only use one effect each per turn. So it's like Burning Abyss. If you would special summon, like in BA, you would special summon it. You can't use the graveyard effect. Well, it's kind of the same thing here. If you activate the graveyard effect, you can't use the on-field effect. If you use the on-field effect, you can't use the graveyard effect. Beast on field is a Destiny draw. You draw 2 cards, then discard 1 Shaddoll card to the graveyard. Since it discards for card effect, you are able to trigger its effect. Now, again, the one other thing I want to bring up about Shaddolls, again, is that Shaddolls activate in the graveyard when sent by card effect, not by card cost. So if you try to discard a Shaddoll off Nightmare Phoenix, that's not going to work. Or a Unicorn, that's not going to work. They both pitch for cost, so keep that in mind. Something like a Paleozoic Dynamishcus will work because that discard for card effect. Or when you fusion summon, that is treated by using card effect. So keep that in mind. Okay, so going over to each Shaddoll. Shadow Beast on field is a Destiny draw. Draw 2, discard 1. When sent to graveyard by card effect, you draw a card. Shaddoll Windy has the same effect for both. Basically, when she's flipped face up, or flip summoned, you get to set one Shaddoll monster from your deck, and when sent to the graveyard by a card effect, set a Shaddoll from the deck. This is very, very good turn 1, and with getting the trap in the grave, this allows you to access Wendy a lot more turn 1, so really, really good stuff. 2 Shaddoll Dragon, this card on field allows you to bounce when flip face up or flip summon, bounces any monster on the field, your opponent's field, back to their hand. When sent to the graveyard, it is an MST. This is very, very good to get rid of Schism in the Mirror and deal with annoying back row. Like in Sky Striker, you get rid of their multi-roll. 3 Shaddoll Squamata, this is basically a Foolish Burial for the whole archetype. So basically, when this thing is sent to the graveyard, you get to send any Shaddoll card from the deck to the graveyard, including your spells and traps, which you're going to do a lot. And also, while in flip face up on the field, is Man-Eater Bug, destroys any monster in your opponent's field. Hedgehog, when sent to the graveyard by a card effect, allows you to add a Shaddoll monster from your deck to your hand. When flip summoned or flip face up, adds a Shaddoll spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And then last but not least, Falco allows you, when flip face up, to Monster Reborn a Shaddoll and face down defense. Also a level 2 tuner, but we don't play synchros in here. What's also important is, when it's sent from deck to grave, or whatever, sent to the graveyard, you get to Monster Reborn and face down. So that's something very, very good. It can help keep alive. It can also be an extender. Next, we play 3 Forbidden Droplet, 2 Chalice, 1 Econ, 3 El Shaddoll Fusion, which allows us to quick play Fusion Summon whenever you want to. Very good for dodging hand traps, very good for dodging back row, and also multiplying the advantage you get off of Construct. Using multiple Construct in a turn, you'll see in the replays, gives you a ton of advantage. Okay, so now we're going to go over the main boss monster of the deck, which is El Shaddoll Construct. This card is absolutely fantastic. Basically, Construct allows you on summon to send any Shaddoll card from your deck to the graveyard, which is really, really good, because getting your Resh in the graveyard, getting your Schism in the graveyard is going to help you out a ton. But what's also really good about El Shaddoll Construct is that when this thing battles a special summon monster, it will destroy it instantly. So this is a very good way for removal, getting things off the board. But also, Shaddoll Construct triggers on special summon, not on fusion summon, on special summon. Which is really important considering Shaddoll Fusion. If you bring it back and you Monster Reborn this thing, then hello, now you have grind game. Now you can keep sending cards to the graveyard and keep annoying your opponent. Also, all of your Shaddoll Fusions share the same effect. If sent to the graveyard, you can add a Shaddoll spell or trap from your graveyard to your hand. So you can keep looping, almost like when you play Burning Abyss, how you use Seer and Dante to loop. It's the same thing here, where you can loop your Shaddoll Construct alongside your Shaddoll Fusion, and then keep milling cards to the graveyard, making it very hard for your opponent. And the goal with Shaddoll is you kind of want to overwhelm your opponent, because this deck can get very overwhelming and swarm the field very fast. Next, we have Borlo Dragon. It's just a link for I threw in the extra. Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, Gravity Controller. If you don't know what this card does, basically it takes 1 extra deck monster in the EMZ. You link it off, and then if this thing battles a monster in the extra monster zone, you get to spin it itself and that monster back into the deck. And also, second effect, that if you would take battle damage over a monster, you would not take... Oh, no, excuse me. Never mind. If this battles a monster in the main monster zone, it's not destroying battle. So that's something that your opponent will not read, I'm telling you. But this is mainly used to link off your Construct to get back your Shaddoll spell or trap that you milled out. Also, Artemis is just a link 1 that allows us to link off any of your Shaddoll spellcaster monsters to get a light monster for Construct. Now going over the extra deck. Now going over the rest of the cards here. Shaddoll Fusion is your best spell card in the deck. This card allows you to fusion summon. When your opponent controls a monster that was special in the extra deck, you get to send everything from the main deck to the graveyard for free. So if you've played Master Duel, you know what Brandy Fusion does. This is essentially Brandy Fusion when your opponent controls an extra deck monster. Also, Shaddoll Fusion allows us to get it back when we link off or send any of our Shaddoll monsters from our fusions from the field to the graveyard, and searchable via Hedgehog, which is also really good because this thing is a hard once per turn, unfortunately, but still really, really good. You can get this in turn 1 combos too. So, for example, if you open up Rilliona going second, you still can get the Shaddoll Fusion via your Resh. You used to have to do that with like Shadow Hound or AD Changer, but you don't have to do that anymore. So, like, if you have Resh in the graveyard and you open up Rilliona, you can go like normal summon Rilliona, fuse off into a Shaddoll Construct, send out the Wendy summon Hedgehog face down. Then you would activate your Shaddoll, flip up your Hedgehog, add your Shaddoll Fusion, and then you can make another construct by sending out the extra deck as well. You used to have like Hound to do that, where you would have to send Hound or AD Changer so you could flip it up, and then do your Hedgehog combo after that, after your Wendy. But this new skill update makes it a lot more versatile to make that play, and really swarm out in your opponent turn too. El Shaddoll Winda, this card is your best boss monster. This card is, beside Construct, this card is fantastic. Basically, while on the field, your opponent cannot special summon more than once. So basically, once your opponent is special summoned, or if you chain it to the activation of effect that would special summon. So for example, if your opponent uses Monster Reborn, Mizuki, Squire, whatever, then, and they try to summon, they won't be able to summon after this because Winda will be on the field before that summon is resolved. So Winda will go out first, then they'll special summon, and then they can't summon anymore. So that's really good if you could chain it to an effect that summons something like a Shadow Schism, which I'm about to go over. And is, of course, cannot be destroyed by card effects, and you know already that once she's sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Shadow spell trap to your hand. Shadow Schism is your best trap in the deck. This card is absolutely incredible. It is Miracle Fusion and a trap that's continuous. So basically, you can banish from your field or graveyard monsters listed on a Shadow Fusion monster. So you can banish to summon out your Shadow Construct or your Shadow Winda. Then you could send one monster on your opponent's side of the field, non-targeting, with the same attribute as the monster fusion summon. So since a lot of things in the game are light and dark, you can send a Blue Eyes off, non-targeting. So if you go up against Blue Eyes turn 1, and they have a Blue Eyes on the field, and they have Successor set, and you go to fuse with this, I mean, if they go turn 2, and they want to activate their Successor Soul, you're going to send them off non-targeting. So even if they chain their Successor Soul to send off something on your field like a Gravity Controller, then you're going to be able to send the Blue Eyes to the field to the graveyard without targeting. So that's very, very good. Also, you cannot attack directly with the fusion monsters that you summon. So be careful with that. If you book it, I believe you can, though. Once you book it, you reset it if it gets the restriction. So Shadow Schism, really good. And it's also during main phase only. So they're smart. They will try to bait you in the battle phase, but really, really good. Okay. With that being said, let's get into some hot replays. Let me see how much of these I actually saved. Okay. Alright, here we go. I'm going to put on some music for you here.
In store. Duel.
Okay, so that's the video. So you can see in those replays how I had drop it a lot of times, how I used the trap in the graveyard, the rest should dodge a lot of negates and a lot of play arounds. I know you saw the one with Red Eye Zombie where he veilered me and then I used the trap to set it, to set the Rilliona. So those are some pretty advanced plays that you have to think about. So very, very good deck. Dropwood also can dodge things as well, so that's also really good. Yeah, I really think Shaddoll is top tier now. I think it's like tier 2 or tier 3. Yeah, this skill is absolutely nuts now. Could it be higher? Maybe, but we'll have to see how it goes. Yeah, so if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Get me to 1.5K. That's our next stop. 1.1, yeah, 1.15K subscribers, 1,150. And yeah, until next time, this is your boy Sean Matrai, signing out. Bye, YouTube.